Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
Did you just pass the buck? Did you just palm off the intro to Caleb?
No, I was confirming.
Sorry about that. I had to...
Well, after that non-start, I'll do the introductions. And welcome to Send It Mate Podcast, another edition. I'm Caleb.
I'm Josh.
I'm Couchy.
Couchy, otherwise known as Shy Guy, mate.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It was you.
Pass the
It was
buck.
always going to be you.
I've seen that handball.
It was a confirmation.
Anyway, we're back again, and it's time for another guest, which is exciting. It's been a couple of weeks.
It is. It
So,
has.
yeah, let's get into it. And tonight we have Aaron from Range Derp. G'day, Aaron. How you going, man?
G'day, bloody marvellous. How about yourselves?
Awesome.
As good as you can be when you sit next to Caleb, but that's all right.
It's just defaulting to insults again.
Oh, dear. How's your week been? You've taken a bit of a trip this week.
I'm headed home to see the family for the week and catch up with the kids over the school holidays, so pretty good.
Very nice. Very nice. I see you have your Adler in the background, so I'm presuming you're going to go for a shoot.
Oh, hopefully, yeah, we'll get down to the local club and shoot some steel challenge with it, and that should be good.
You're nice.
Very nice. Very nice, actually.
Sounds like a plan. And do you head back to WA very often, or because you're normally based in Darwin, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm working in Darwin at the moment, so I try and get home once a month if I can, more or less. Just depends on how work is, really.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think a lot of people are going, who is Range Derp? They might have seen you on Instagram and they might have seen you on TikTok. You do some pretty cool videos, mate. So, I mean, we're here to get to know you, so let's get into it.
Some wicked videos. that's for certain. It looks you make it look smooth and easy and just so much fun, actually. I think I've belt fed all your videos in the last fortnight.
Oh, fantastic.
And if people are wondering,
Well,
it's IPSC shooting. You could be talking about anything, make it look smooth and easy.
It does have the mo, so it could be porn.
That's actually why I got on the gram. I want to get more people into shooting and more people into doing the practical shooting sports. I think it's great. And the more the merrier. I think it's good for the future of the sport and shooters all around the country. So that's why I do it.
Awesome, man. Well, that sits really well with us because we're definitely about promoting shooting and hunting out there and getting more people involved. So it sounds like we're pretty well aligned. All right. Well, first question is an easy one. Where are you from?
Albany, Western Australia, or Beston Australia. Where I am as we speak.
Can you say that after your COVID restrictions?
Locked away in Australia.
No, and I I definitely can't say that after I had been away from WA for about 10 years, moved back to WA and remembered how terrible licensing was in WA. Holy shit. Yeah, not fun. But anyway.
Can you explain the licensing? Because they've done a bit of a crackdown, haven't they, in the last few years?
Oh, guess what? How much licensing an additional firearm now costs in WA? $256.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Don't move to
3 years ago, that was, fact. 3 years ago, that was only $180, and that was already the most expensive state in the country. So yeah, it's now up to $256. Like, I'm buying a $300 Rossi 22 at the moment, which means that half the cost will be just licensing the bastards. Crazy.
That's quite painful. Oh, but they've also got some pretty stringent appearance laws, don't they?
Oh yeah. The appearance laws is not really something I've run into so far. Mainly, my other long guns are 303s, so they're not scary looking. But I know people who are like, hey, this rifle, the identical action in a woodstock is fine, but I put it in a scary M-Lock 4-end, and all of a sudden I can't have it.
Yeah, because it shoots.
It's wild over here.
Shoots more rapidly than to put it in the chassis.
Accurately too.
Yeah. As soon as you get an M-Lock 4-end, it becomes 20 million times more deadly.
Oh, dear. Well, I actually got a question with this because you're an IPSC shooter. So, and we've seen you run a few different firearms on your channel, and it just so happens that I'm currently looking at a Warwick. I want to know your opinion in IPSC, how a Warwick straight pull would go.
Oh, it's the go-to. So I think the Nationals this year was won by a Warwick, by Ghostberg out of Victoria. If he didn't win, he was second place, but the top of the field was all Warwicks, or a couple of the other flavors of straight pull. I think those anything that takes AR mag, so you can get that bloody 40 round P mag on there. I don't have to reload ever because I've got a 40 round P mag. You're just unbeatable. Yeah. If you're not running a pump action Warwick, or similar, you're not winning the match. Definitely me with a number 4 Enfield, 10 round stripper clips. I was not winning the match. I was having a great time. I was having a bloody good
to
time,
watch,
but I was not winning that match. Yeah.
Oh dear! It'd obviously be a bit quicker being a pump or a straight pull than a Enfield.
Yeah. The middle finger jobby's not too bad, but I'd be super keen to check out as well the Taipan, the new one from Southern Cross Small Arms. I mean, I'm a West Australian, so it's not like I can have one anyway. But if I was somewhere else, I'd be keen to check out the Taipan. I had a little play with that at Nats, and it's a very, very, very good looking gun. Fair bit lighter than the Warwick too. The Warwick is a heavy rifle.
Yeah, definitely. It's cost effective, the Taipan too, to be honest, because the Warwick's setting you back, I think, 4,200 now new, and I think the Taipan's coming in around 18. Don't correct me if I'm wrong.
It'll change all the time, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it'll probably go up as soon as it gets a bit of popularity, but like everything, that's all right.
All three of us have been lucky enough to try both. So it's definitely interesting, that trade-off between probably the higher quality versus the price point. So I'm sure there's probably a balance in there somewhere that suits people at certain points. But
yeah, I definitely found
absolutely.
The Warwick was a lot smoother, just to cycle.
Yeah, definitely.
So
but I think that's the Taipan was still a prototype. So I think there was still some refining to do when we tested it out.
That's true.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. How does your Adler go? I've seen you run your Adler actually, and obviously you've got your non-master handle on the charging handle. How do you go with accuracy running that thing?
So I run it hand on the bolt, just like this, for close range targets. Accuracy, who cares? And then I'll run out to the forend if I need to actually take aim for a long distance. But I mean, I'm only shooting IPSC shotguns, so accuracy isn't really a thing. It's just how fast you can make the clays disappear. On the slug stages or the buckshot stages, that's where you'll probably see me reach out to the forend and actually get behind that dot and try and take aim and make sure I don't send 9 bloody buckshot into the no shoot and rack up 50,000 points of penalties. Which I did do at Nationals. I nailed the no shoot target with 9 buckshot. It was
Just clarify that. What do you mean about no shoot? Obviously, is it like a hostage sort of style target?
It's not a hostage. It's a target that you can't shoot.
Next to a target you can.
Yes, exactly. So the whole idea of the no shoot is to increase the accuracy requirement of that target. Now, obviously, in IPSC practical shooting, you're trying to clear the stage as quickly as you can, but the no shoot is there to really reinforce the requirement for accuracy, because any hits on the no shoot cost you 5 points. And if you don't hit the target that you needed to hit, that's extra penalties for not hitting that target as well. So it can really stack up and completely wreck your stage.
So that 5 point deduction, what's that mean to you? Like, how many points can you get in the stage?
Oh, sorry, correction. It's a 10-point deduction. So it's actually worth double an A zone hit. So for instance, if you smack the target you wanted to hit twice, that's 2 alphas, that's 10 points. But if you smack that old no shoot twice, that's 20 points off. So basically you can completely ruin your entire match potentially just by whacking a few of the no shoots.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
makes me want to do it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because what I love about that aspect of practical shooting is it's how fast can I go? How fast can I complete this challenge? But balancing that against how fast can I go and still be accurate enough to meet the demands that have been put in front of me. Mm-hmm. And that's really where the bleeding edge of it is, and what I think makes it such a great sport.
Then you've got the safety aspect. You get penalties for unsafe practices, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, pretty much anything safety related, it's see you later. You know, if you break the 180, if you ND into the ground, if things go bang when they're not supposed to, it's see you later. Or if you're a good sport, you can hang around for the rest of the match and help patch.
Oh dear. Well, that's fair. I mean, you know, that's obviously promoting safe practices.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you're encouraging people to run around with, and especially with pistols with the very short barrel, if you're encouraging people to run around with those as fast as they possibly can, you really want to have a good reinforcing factor on safety and discipline. So, yeah.
Are you allowed to point in the air?
Depends on range. A lot of ranges will have like no elevated firearms because they're worried about the distance of the trace. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, it's okay as long as you're still pointed downrange. So you've got 180 degrees, which is a safe direction, which is downrange. One thing I've seen actually was a fella shooting IPSC who was a police officer. So you'll see people when they shoot an IPSC and they need to go back up range, they'll stick the gun back over their shoulder, run back like this, or they'll stick the gun out behind them to run back up range. So that way the gun remains in a safe direction pointing into the mound. But this guy was a cop and he went back into default police mode. So he turned around, stuck the gun up into a temple index and ran backwards, which for police is A-OK and it's great safety because the gun's up in the air. It's not going to hurt anyone. But he's just broken the 180 because although it's up in the air, that gun's still pointing up range. So that was DQ, Dairy Queen. See you later, mate.
I was going to say you can't do no tunnel of love type shit, and that's unfortunate because it seems more natural just going like straight up and turning around, turn back around and go off into your position. But because I've seen you a few times run backwards on your videos, and I'm like, that does not look comfortable.
The old Naruto run with the gun sticking out behind you, like yeah.
I think I would accidentally do something if I was doing that, like running with my pistol behind. I'd probably be like, huh? What's going on over here?
Yeah. No, legit. So, like, I've had a moment where a fairly new shooter did that. So he had the gun out behind him, but he turned around in the wrong direction. So when he turned around, he sweeps the entire range. So one of those moments, there's a meme where it's like, when you're too afraid to DQ them because they might AD you in the chest. You're like, I'm going to let this guy finish turning around before I shout stop, stop, stop. Because if he's panicking any more than he already is, I might cop around. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. That wouldn't be too good for the sport. 6 range suits die in unexpected shooting.
Oh, dear. That's exactly what we'll avoid. Yeah.
No, it seems like a fun sport, to be honest. And that's something that your videos just intrigued me. And it would be wonderful if pistol licenses weren't so, they're not hard to get, but to keep them is.
But It's challenging. Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the things I think would be really good for IPSC is getting more into the long gun events. Like, the amount of people that are out there with a shotgun that could shoot a prac shotgun match. Heck, if it's a side-by-side coach gun, shit, come on down. You're still going to have fun. Another thing I think that we should really get into in Australia is mini rifle, which is like IPSC rifle shot with a 22. And that's just fun, like just whizzing around, clack, clack, clack. Great way for kids to get into the sport and to be able to practice long gun events without it costing like huge quantities of money.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to shoot more long gun events with rifles. But doing that with 303 is really going to hurt the old hip pocket. So,
do you reload or do you just buy factory?
I'm both time poor and lazy, so I've been buying factory recently. And that's Nationals was like 200 rounds. Holy shit, that was
the 303. Yeah. That would be what, $500 at least.
Yeah, it was about 500.
Yeah.
Do you see many other guys getting around with something like that as well?
There were, no, I got out 303'd at Nationals. There was a guy there with a long tom. Didn't even have charger bridges. He was single loading that bastard. It's like Breaker Morant spec. Yeah. And he had like a full 1890s kit too. So he had his ammo in like period correct retro webbing. It was amazing. I take my hat off to that man. That was just.
How'd he place?
He beat me.
Second last.
Yeah. He did exceedingly well. He could run that gun. That was really impressive to watch. He's my nemesis for next year. I'm hoping to come up with an even stupider rifle for next year's Nationals. Maybe a Mosin or a Carcano. Carcano would be hard because ammo's like unobtainium, but I really like the Carcanos. But yeah, I'm hoping to out stupid him next year with an even more impractical, outdated military surplus rifle. Yeah.
Just get the old Sport Go Martini with the full-on block, single load.
Oh, yeah,
musket.
That would be.
It's a black powder.
Oh dear.
Look, I don't think there's anything in the IPSC rules that say I can't bring a muzzle loader, but everyone else on the range having to wait like 5 hours for you to finish the stage is really going to hate you. That is going to be unpopular at the match. Yeah.
It sounds like there's plenty of room for a bit of individual expression by the sounds of it, because it looks like you're having a lot of fun, and it looks like you've got a real way about how you do things, and that really comes across in your video. So are there just a heap of dudes out there doing the same sort of thing? Like you just said, this other guy in his 1890s gear. Is that pretty common for people to sort of express themselves?
Nah, sadly not. Nah, I will say, like, most people are in there with a very competitive, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Everyone should aspire to the highest tiers of achievement in the sport. But there's a big difference between the guys with the pump action Warwicks and the LPVOs with offset red dot who are looking to score gold, silver, bronze. They're taking it seriously. They're doing their match prep. They're looking for like 1% in the stage plan. If I go to this spot here, I can shoot these 3 targets, and then this spot here, and all this detailed planning. And I'm just there holding my 303, waiting for the beep, and I'll figure it out as I go along.
You do a pretty good job doing it off the cuff, man. Jesus, man, you're quick.
I think it's more fun that way. And same in the pistol events. There's the dudes with the $10,000 race guns who are looking to save 1/10 of a second on a reload, and I'm there with a 1943 Walther P38, just hoping to be able to get through the stage without running out of magazines. So,
what got you into sort of running the 303? Did you say?
That's a really good question. So I was watching videos from Gun Jesus from Ian McCollum over on ForgottenWeapons.com, and I was seeing him and Carl Casada over to InRange taking like historical weapons to 2-gun competitions in the United States. Oh, yeah. And they'd be at a 2-gun competition going up against guys with AR-15s with like a Mauser, K98 or some outdated thing. And I thought, that's a really interesting idea. Like, I love my history. I love my historical firearms. And I thought, why not take them to a match and see how you go? You learn a bit of history. The other thing I love is you rock up to an IPSC match with a Shadow 2, like every other guy in the entire country. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. You rock up to an IPSC with the P38. I guarantee you'll meet 10 more different people because the amount of people who want to talk to you and just be like, hey, that's a cool gun, man. What is it? And that's my favorite thing about shooting historical guns. So, yeah.
Do you think they should create a discipline for historical firearms in the IPSC?
Like a category of its own?
Yeah. Because then it would, like, obviously you're gonna then, sort of be on fair terms in the shoot.
That's an interesting one. Well, there's already classic division if you want to be a retiree and shoot Jam 1011s. But that's 1911s only, so it's not very broad. Like another pistol I want to get is a Steyr Roth model 1912 top load stripper clip 9mm Steyr. That gun I would have to be in standard division, which would be putting me up against like Boutique Race 2011s. I'm if I don't come last in that match, you've had a really bad day, basically.
Oh dear.
But there's just I don't think there's just not enough people interested in that sort of stupid historical stuff that I do to warrant it.
Yet. The sport will get bigger.
Yeah.
Well, there should be like a end of year award for the best run sort of historical rifle.
Most interesting. Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's still pretty cool though. You can just choose your own adventure and do what you want anyway. So.
Yeah. As long as you don't mind, you're not winning the match. You're there to have fun, and the challenge is always against the clock, right? Too.
Yeah.
It's the clock, the timer, and everything that can go wrong will happen after the beep. So the challenge is once that beep goes off, it's you, the clock, your gun, and how fast can you finish the problem. So
there's that old saying that slow is smooth is fast, and I'd imagine running a bolt gun like on some of these stages would just give you a little bit more time to think instead of just going off half cocked and just bang 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 getting rounds down range. Like one would think it would slow you down a little bit.
Maybe for people who are smarter than I am. For me, running that 303, the only thing going through my head was like, I don't even think I had time to think. I was just reacting to whatever double feed I was dealing with because I was like getting ahead of the bolt and trying to, the swinger target was moving, and here's me with this bloody 303 and. I guess in theory a bolt action should be more deliberate, especially than those 40-round PMag on a pump action 7615 or a Warwick where you're just sending 223 down nearly as fast as semi.
Nearly.
So maybe
let's segregate that. Nearly.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't say that. No one told Greenpeace. So a person who has more visual patience, discipline, and is more smarter than I am, could definitely take the action of a bolt action to consider what they're doing and what they need to do next. But unfortunately, I'm not on that level.
Bit of adrenaline. Yeah, I get you.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sure we'll come back to some more shooting stuff, but let's change tact. Question 2, Aaron. What's your favourite food?
Favorite food? Undoubtedly anything Polish. So my grandparents are Polish. So whether it be a bigos or a pierogi or a good old pickled herring, anything Polish takes me back to very fond memories of Christmas at home with Babcia and Granddad. So,
what was the first dish?
Bigos maybe is probably the first one. It's a Polish stew, very cabbage. Yeah. Cabbage and whatever meat you have handy. Historically, it's a hunter's stew, so it's cabbage plus whatever you got, basically.
Yeah.
And are you a fiend for vodka?
Sadly, no. I'm a national embarrassment when it comes to vodka. Oh. I've had some messy nights on the vodka. In fact, I was lucky enough to be overseas with some Polish guys, and they got me they're drinking the shittiest tier vodka out of paper cups. And I was trying to keep up with those guys. Oh man, it was bad. It was really bad. So unfortunately, I am not Polish when it comes to vodka.
Fair enough. The only reason I ask is I used to have a boss who was Polish, and I mean, to be fair, he's a big boy. He's probably about 130 kegs and about my height, so 5'9", and he could put away some vodka like nobody else.
It's insane. It is insane. Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, very good. Well, I'd be keen. I haven't actually tried too much Polish food, I don't reckon. What about you boys?
Polish sausage.
Not that I know of, anyway. Nah.
That's about it.
Yeah. It's all fun and games until the Cowbuster comes out.
No, that was serious though. I love eating Polish sausage. That's about it. And cabbage. There you go.
Well done.
90% of it right there. But yeah, get around it. Order some pierogi next time you're down at the Polish place. You won't regret it.
Pierogi.
Actually, I've had that. I've had that too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know.
Made with dog. What'd you have on hand?
What?
The meat.
Can't remember.
No?
I just know I've had pierogi.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does sound familiar, actually. Pierogi.
What, now you've had it too?
No, it just sounds familiar. Maybe.
Well done. All right. Well, Aaron, what was your first job?
I was a grocery boy at Woolworths here in Albany, and remains the best damn job I've ever had to date, actually. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. No responsibility, just do what you need to do. And if you're ahead of time, goof off with your mates or chat up the checkout chicks. It's like, it's
Crack open a chocolate
honestly, to
bar
this
in the
day.
aisle and not pay for it.
100%. Get around it.
This brings me to a question because you're a serving member in the ADF. So how do you rate that, if you don't mind talking about it?
Oh, fantastic. I've had opportunities that I never would have had otherwise. I'm incredibly proud to serve and put on the uniform and do my little bit for the nation in whatever way I can as a logistics officer. Certainly keeps me busy, and the challenges are always diverse, and well, almost every day is different. So I can't complain about that. So.
And you're an officer.
Yeah, believe it or not. Some people are surprised by that for some reason.
No, that's all right. You got to have them.
No, me and my kind are a unnecessary plague on the good functioning of the Defence Force. So I appreciate that.
So you're obviously in one division. Which unit?
No, I'm currently in joint movements.
Oh, right.
So we arrange and facilitate whoever you are and wherever you are to get to where you need to be to do the job you got to do.
Ah, right. There you go.
Sounds like an advertisement.
Sounds like
Cue the
Sorry,
ADF
logistics
music.
basically. That made it sound much more interesting than it is. Logistics, getting stuff on and off aircraft, basically.
Did you get to go overseas?
Yeah, certainly. I've overseas to Iraq in 2017. Actually, it was good times.
So you've also been in for about 10, 12 years? 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years now. Starting to feel old.
Would you consider a career change? Because 12 years is a long time, man.
Look, as long as I'm enjoying myself and I can keep doing jobs that are interesting, I will be happy to stay in. But having said that, I have young kids now. My boys are 5, 2, and 1. Our family's all in Western Australia. So certainly the thought rumbling around in the back of my head is, hey, it's probably going to be time to come home soon. So yeah, certainly the thought had occurred to me.
It's a hard thing to do because the army, it is cushy some of the times when you're in there. Like your average, work days when it's not high tempo and high stress, you can sort of just get caught up and, weeks turn into months and suddenly you're like, oh, where'd the time go? And it's cushy. It's a paycheck, like it's stable.
And as a grunt,
Safety blanket.
I'm not sure if it's different for an officer or not, but as a grunt, you didn't really have to think about what you're doing. You didn't have to think about what you're going to do next week. No, you didn't.
No,
really.
I fucking hate this.
You had to,
mate.
No, you had to prepare for what you're going to do, but you didn't have to think about what you're
No,
going to do.
I hate that because you had to think on the fly fucking all the time, man.
Yeah.
I hate how people say
No, I
grunts are
understand
dumb. That's no, I completely disagree with you there.
Well, they know you, so it's not the
Look, it's not a rocket scientist job. No, it's not. But you still got to make decisions on the fly and think, and it's high stress.
Yeah, within that confined box.
But that box is not real confined, man. It's not. I mean, yeah, you got to shoot a gun. Okay, that's not that hard. You got to lift a heavy pack.
Keep the gun running.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I recently had the opportunity to get trained by some guys from 5RR out at Mount Bundy at the urban training facility out there. And let me tell you, it was awesome. Those young digs, holy shit, they were fucking killing it. Their instruction was awesome. The level of like junior dig in the section just being like explaining the reasons why you do certain things, like everything from room clearing to, strategies for approaching buildings, how to break down a building into manageable chunks. Those guys were fucking shit hot. They were excellent. I really, really rated those guys from 5RAR who helped, train a bunch of retard movers, how to assault a 3-story building. It was great. Mad props to those guys and what they do. Really, really rate it. Those guys are fucking excellent.
Nice.
I'd say I agree with that statement, Shannon. Yeah, 5 was my old unit as well, man.
You should have stayed there, man. Not come to 7. That was a downfall.
Yeah, I should have stayed there. Actually, I would have been up there. Were you in Darwin the whole time?
No, so I posted up to Darwin this year and was previously there in 16-17 as well.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, so yeah, we wouldn't have crossed paths then. Before that?
Oh, before that, I've done Pucka, Bendigo, and Brisbane.
Okay. Might have crossed paths.
and Perth, yeah.
Oh, Perth as well? Good gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
So I was movers at Perth as well. So that was great as well. I mean, it was a job in the home state, so I'd do any job in Perth if it was bloody, I don't know, emptying the bins at 13 Brigade, whatever it takes.
Probably a good time to ask this question then. Aaron, if you could trade places with anyone in the world, who would that be?
Yeah, okay. So this one might be left field. I had to think about this a lot. And it is Victor Glover, who you might not know, but he's my best bet who is going to be the next American astronaut to walk on the moon. Victor Glover is a US Navy captain, fighter pilot, combat missions in Iraq, test pilot. He's fairly young of the current crop of astronauts, and he flew his first mission a year or two ago to the International Space Station. And if I was a betting man, he is going to be the next American to walk on the moon under Project Artemis, hopefully sometime this decade.
Oh,
so
we've got to take a step back here. You think we've been to the moon? Sorry, but sorry, man. I had to. That was wide open for that comment.
Yeah, I know. I get that a fair bit, but yes, we have. But yeah, so Victor's a cool dude, and so those guys, right? They live and work in Houston, Texas, right? And when they're not in Houston, Texas, they're flying down to Florida in fighter jets to go train in Florida at the Cape, right? So they live and work in 2 of the most gun-friendly states in the US, and they get paid to fly fighter jets or sit on top of rockets and go to space. So I can't imagine any better job. If you're not flying fighter jets, you can go and shoot basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'd be 2-gunning every day of the week with 2-gunning, 3-gunning with my, I don't know, whatever the hell I wanted, because it's Texas and Florida. So.
And then, have the best view of the world if you got the space. Is that something that, say, if you were a multi-millionaire or whatever, would you pay for a flight up there?
Oh shit, yeah, absolutely. To see the Earth from space is a life-changing experience, or so I've heard. And those guys are awesome. Fighter pilot jocks, and then they go to be test pilots, and then they get bored of being test pilots, so they sit on top of a giant bomb and get hurtled to 24 times the speed of sound. Fuck yeah, sign me up.
Oh dear.
So is space sort of a special interest area for you in particular, or just?
Yeah. The podcast listeners will not appreciate the fact that I've got a tattoo of a lunar module on my forearm, but Yeah, I've been an absolute space nerd since as long as, in fact, one of my earliest memories is as a kid, my dad telling me how the Apollo missions worked, and him drawing a diagram of the lunar module and the command module and the Saturn V. So just that whole idea of exploration, even if it's, like the Arctic explorers, like those first dudes who went down and crossed the Arctic on foot with bloody dogs, anything that's about the extremes of getting out there in the wild, I absolutely love, can't get enough of it. And, for me, space and walking on the moon is pretty much the ultimate getting out there. So, yeah.
So people like Josh who are just walking on the moon deniers, you probably just want to clobber him, to be honest.
Look, I have.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. No. I love meeting a good a conspiracy theorist, because I think it's a great opportunity to let someone know about what's like one of the greatest fucking engineering achievements of all time, right? Like, look at that bad boy, the Saturn V rocket, a vehicle so powerful that its fuel pump developed 55,000 horsepower, right? 55,000 horsepower from your fuel pump. Oh, and there was 10 of those fuel pumps on the Saturn V first stage, right? That is a big heckin' fuel pump, right? To send a guy going, like 34,000 miles an hour to the moon, 250,000 miles away, is one of the most, like if humans can do that, we can fucking do anything, right?
So do you think we'll colonize Mars? If that's the case,
hopefully, I hope to still be alive for that. But you can, if you have a laser of sufficient precision, point it at retroreflectors which were left behind on the surface of the moon by the Apollo crews at various different locations on the moon, and you will get your laser bounce back to you. It's done for like a bunch of uber nerdy shit, like measuring the moon's gravity and shit like that. But you can, if you want to, point a laser at the moon and you'll get it bounce back to you, which is, in my opinion, one of the most obvious reasons that we did in fact go to the moon. Also, the fact that the Russians didn't like get upset about it. Like, we were in a life or death struggle with the Russians in the Cold War, in which we were willing to nuke each other into oblivion. And the Russians had spies in like every single level of the US government. The Russians knew what the US was doing before the US ever did it. I'm pretty sure the Russians would have been like, hey, that was a load of shit. They didn't,
yeah, if they lied about it,
they
was kept quiet real long. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The only time you can know something as a fact is when the Russian government denies it.
That's some fair logic there, I think.
Fitting for this moment in time too, isn't it?
That is a whole nother kettle of fish. But yeah. So yeah, Victor Glover, he'd be my man, and I would swap places with him. He can go be a logistics officer in Darwin, and I'll fly fighter jets in Houston. Absolutely. Send it.
It's a good trade.
Nice. That sounds right, actually.
There you go. Why don't you transfer across to the Air Force and become a fighter pilot?
I actually did pilot selection about 10 years ago, and I got knocked back. Yeah. So that was devastating. I passed all the tests, and then at the bloody interview, the guy was like, "You've passed all the tests, so I think you're fine to be in aviation." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to be in aviation." And he's like, "But I think you're just fishing for it. I don't think you're really motivated to be a pilot. So come back in 2 years' time if you really are, and prove that you are motivated." And here I am 10 years later. I haven't done it yet. Maybe, well, in summary, he was absolutely correct. Right?
I can imagine that they wouldn't want cowboys. They'd want, pretty disciplined
motivated people,
Yeah. Like, the idea of me flying a plane scares me because I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, I forget what day of the week it is. So the idea of me having the lives of, say 120 passengers on a C-17 in my hands is basically something that no one should consider, least of all the Australian Defence Force.
Hey, bro, my sister's a pilot, and let's just face it, it can't be as worse as she is. Oh, my God. There's no... Shannon's going to probably listen to this as well, fuck. And Tim certainly is his husband. There is no way I'd get into a plane with her. I watched her do a landing once, and I'm like, nope. The plane looked like it was about to flip upside down. I'm like, hell no. No way. But she's disciplined and motivated. I'll give her that.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe I'll put in my transfer. Maybe I'll give it another crack.
Well, talking about like cowboys being pilots, like over in Afghan, some of those US pilots are fucking just insane. They're and
loose as a goose.
Yeah, they will do anything. Like just shit normal people wouldn't do. And unless you've got like a bit of wind up your skirt, you're not doing it. So. Maybe it pays to be a bit of a cowboy in that situation.
We'll find out. I'll let you know how it goes. Range Derp coming to an airfield near you.
I would love to see your logo painted on an F-18.
So was that something that just why you didn't apply for it again? You just weren't sort of focused on it, or was there distractions in life that...
Yeah, look, distractions in life. I mean, I've been enjoying my job in Army, right? Like I've, as I said, I had the opportunity to go to Iraq in 2017. That was awesome. It was where I got to do all the logistics shit I'd trained for to help our guys execute their mission in kicking ISIS out of Iraq and wiping them all out in Mosul. That for me was the pinnacle of my career as a logistics officer, because I, in some very small way, got to help that happen, which was, ISIS dudes getting killed, which is great. That's
it's good for everyone.
That's what makes me passionate about waking up in the morning and doing a good job at logistics, is so that dudes can do the job, attack and seize ground, etc. I can't remember the role of infantry off the top of my head, sorry, but.
Neither can
so I've been enjoying myself, and I've always said, if when I stop enjoying myself, I'll get out, I'll do something different, and when that day comes, I'll think about whacking in the old transfer and having another nudge at that pilot thing. But in the meantime, I'm working, I'm shooting, and having a pretty good time. So I'll just keep doing it.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Play. That's fair. I gotta ask, what's the officers' mess like? Obviously, you've been to the OR's mess. So what's the is it like you was a part?
No. In fact, you'll love this in the moment. The most people are eating at the soldiers' mess in Robbo because they've got this new grab and go thing. It's wild. You can get like a halal snack pack from the mess with chips and a can of soft drink instead of sitting down at the mess and then just walk out. It's wild.
What?
So like. Yeah. So it's super awkward at the moment because only the soldiers' mess offers this grab and go thing with you can get kebabs and shit from the mess and just fucking walk out. You don't have to sit down. So all these digs are going into the mess, and there's 50 majors walking in as well because they want the good shit. They don't want to have to go to the offices and sit down for some slop. Yeah,
that's awesome. It's about time it changed. Bloody hell. In my mind straight away, all I think, grab and go, okay, that justifies the battalion or whatever, just decreasing the lunch break and increasing work. It'll work.
It'll happen for sure. Yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah. Hey, you can go to the grab and go. Why do you need more than 10 minutes for lunch?
There's a method to it. There's the pros and cons. Definitely.
Yeah. It's really good you suggested that. A mate of mine's an OC at 5. After this, I'm going to flick him a message and be like, wait, you only need to give the boys 5 minutes for lunch. Just hit the grab and go.
Oh, shit. Because no one down at 5 anymore.
I don't think you're joining up.
Congratulations. You've just dogged everyone.
I kind of want to see that happen now, just say.
Having said that, kebabs, man, dead set. There must be some plus size soldiers out there now.
Oh, yeah. Look, there are some people who really need to look at their physical fitness before they take advantage of the grab and go. Let me tell you. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, just want to look after people's coronary welfare. People should.
They're a damn soldier. They shouldn't be fat. Let's just say it how it is.
There was a bit of that when we were in as well, still.
Not a whole lot,
Not a heaps, but yeah.
Most guys were, you put on a bit of chub because of the irregular hours working and bush, and so you'd go from skinny having no food out bush and then get back and gorge yourself and put on a few kegs. But yeah, it wasn't prominent, that's for sure.
No.
Well,
So it died off, didn't it?
anyway,
that was an awesome tangent. we started at Woolies.
oh dear, I've got back to food. Aaron, what's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
Shit, I mean, I don't know if I should. I should, but the most dangerous thing I've done is also the most stupid thing I've ever done.
They generally go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a fact. So I had to think about this one a lot. And the most dangerous thing I ever did. So me and a friend were going up to an airport in Erbil in Kurdistan in northern Iraq, and we were there to do some boring logistics shit, looking at the airfield and airplanes and stuff. But we got all that done pretty early. So me and my mate went, hey, it's not very often you're in Kurdistan. You know, the opportunities are very, very, very wide ranging to travel in Kurdistan. And they went, shall we go get a coffee in town? You know, shall we get a coffee in town? And I thought, well, fuck, you know, you don't often get the chance to try Kurdish coffee. So fuck it, we'll hop in the car and drive into town and find a cafe. There are a couple of problems with this. One, none of us had data on our mobile phones, so navigation was challenging to say the least. And Erbil is the oldest continually occupied city in the world. So the streets are designed for vehicles that are the width of a horse's ass. Or a pedestrian. And we are in a big Yank F-150 because that's what I had for us to borrow from the airfield. So driving through these streets that are positively fucking medieval in a F-150 was challenging. And I actually took out a dude's wing mirror. The streets were like real narrow in the middle of Erbil, and there was this nice new Prado sat on the side of the road. And if you got a new Prado in Erbil, you know, you probably, I don't know, local celebrity or something. But I tipped his wing mirror and ripped the prick off. And I was like, fuck. So I was driving down the road, and then this guy's chasing me. Like, he's hopped in and he's fucking chasing me. He's like shouting at me to pull over. So I find somewhere to pull over, and then there's this Kurd, and I don't speak a word of Kurd. I don't even know what Kurds speak. I know like barely any Arabic. He knows fucking no English whatsoever, and he's just shouting at me, and he's like fucking berating the fuck out of me. And I'm just like, hey, very sorry, very sorry, very sorry, very sorry, very sorry. And I just want this problem to go away because no one knew we were there. We had no approval to be anywhere other than the airbase. And this was a very, like, if the police showed up, like, holy shit, you know, what was I going to say? So I had like a good $800 or $900 US in my wallet, and I was about ready to just stick it through the window and be like, mate, please just go away. But then this guy who's getting frustrated with the fact that I don't speak Kurd and he doesn't speak English gets his son out of the car. And holy shit, his son must go to the best school, the best foreign school in all of Kurdistan, because he speaks English better than we do. He's like this 8-year-old kid. And he's laughing his ass off because he's like, my dad is very angry at you. Like, I can fucking tell. And he's like, he wants to know why you drive off. And I'm like, mate, traffic is like 10 miles deep and there's no parking for anything the size of an F-150. You could barely fit a scooter in here, mate. I'm like, I couldn't pull over. I didn't mean to do a hit and run, but I couldn't pull over. And he's like, my dad is very angry with you. I'm like, mate, please tell your dad I am the most sorry man he has ever met. And then the son sort of relays this information to his father. And then he comes back and he's like, my dad wants to know who you are and why you are here. Mate, I'm just doing work, all right? Like, don't worry about it. And then it's at that point, I think the father kind of thinks that, you know, we might be foreigners who have, you know, we're pasty white guys with funny accents and short haircuts. He's probably like, maybe I don't want to cause an incident with these guys. So my father's like, okay, I can't remember what he said, but he's like, my father's very angry with you, but you can go now. And I was like, holy shit. I'm not going to get arrested and thrown in a Kurdistani prison. So we're just like, you know what, shit. We were looking for a shawarma. We wanted a nice Kurdish shawarma because, hey, you know, while you're in Kurdistan, you want to try a shawarma. But we were like, fuck it, we'll just go back to base because I don't want anything else to happen that might get me arrested by local police while literally no one in Australia knows we're here. And I'm driving, but nav is hard, right? Because you're in this medieval city. Everyone's driving like a madman. Like, holy shit, they drive over there like it's nobody's business. And my mate, who's trying to navigate based off a paper map and try and get us back to the airbase, is like, you need to turn right now. And I'm like, a complete wrong lane. So I'm like, fuck, I got to get in front of the traffic. Floor it. 5-litre V8 in the old F-150 burbling at the top of her lungs, race in front of traffic, just in time to get to the corner, and I have to lay on the brakes to turn this corner. And I stand on the brakes in the middle of Erbil, and nothing happens because the throttle is stuck wide open. It is screaming at full noise. And there's a cafe in the opposite corner. The diagonal opposite of this corner is a cafe where like 100 local Kurdistanis are having their morning coffee as me is barreling down towards them in 2.5 tons of F-150 that won't stop because the throttle is stuck open on the red line at $5,000, probably pinging off the limiter. So I'm standing on the brake going, fuck, shitting myself. I have to put both feet on the brake and the wheels, like the brakes lock up. And finally, like I'm about half a meter from the first table at this cafe when the engine stops, comes back down off the limiter. Like it must have just got stuck open because this poor thing was sitting in the dirt and dust and wind on the edge of the airfield for like years without ever having to drive anywhere serious. And me and my mate sort of look at each other and there's like all these surprised people in the cafe like, what the hell? Did we just get run over by some Yankee in a bloody F-150? And I just thought, you know, somewhere out there in the multiverse, there is a Aaron who is still in a Kurdish prison for murdering 100 people in a cafe for vehicular manslaughter of the nth degree. So,
did you get out and get a coffee?
I was about to say that. Perfect time.
You got a cafe, man.
No, you know, I never got that damn coffee. Never got that damn coffee. We went home with our tail between our legs, let me tell you. Fuck.
Can you imagine the headline for the news if you'd gone through the thing? Aussie soldier kills 6 Kurdish.
That's probably one of the best stories I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a cracker, man.
What else you got?
Yeah.
I've got nothing to parallel that level of stupidity.
Yeah, wow, that could have been bad.
And so, unfortunately, I cannot tell you what the inside of a Kurdish prison looks like. Well, fortunately, actually, I'm pretty happy I can't answer that question.
Definitely.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing the drive back from there to base was pretty uneventful.
Yeah. My cheeks were firmly clapped together, and my heart rate was elevated.
You plain clothes or uniform?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plain clothes. Yeah. We weren't going to drive around town like 50 k's down the road from Mosul in uniform. So.
What, you drove 50 k's to get a coffee that you didn't end up getting? I would have been like, I'm here now. Screw it.
we done it.
Oh, that is a great story, man, to be honest.
It was good times. Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
This one will probably make a bit of sense, actually. My favourite bit of advice was if you can't be good, be colourful. And some will say I've taken that a little bit too much to heart. But the idea is you know, like there's always a bigger fish. There's always someone better than you, you know, whether it's shooting or, you know, your job or, I don't know, you know, whatever it is. There's always going to be someone who's better than you. So don't take yourself too seriously. Enjoy your whatever you're doing. And you might as well be entertaining if you can't get the gold medal. So if you can't be good, be colourful.
I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
If you're going to be middle of the pack, holy shit, you don't want to be a boring arsehole. Like no one's got time for that.
That's true.
So is that you're saying that if you did shoot seriously, you'd be middle of the pack?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
It's actually very good advice though, because say you're in a job interview, right? There's someone who's more qualified than you, someone who's better suited to that job, but the person interviewing you thinks, hey, this guy's fun and I actually want to work with him because he's interesting. You're more likely to get the job. So it's good advice in a lot of different arenas.
So all I'm thinking is, so you'd be like last on the list.
Fuck you. Sometimes the skill base just shines through. It doesn't matter. But no, it's true. Like how,
and you might as well enjoy it as well. Like just enjoying, like yourself, enjoying every shoot, and sort of regardless of how you perform, you're doing something different. You're doing something fun, and you're entertaining others as well.
You're not being a robot.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I like it actually.
And one thing I liked about your Instagram as well is you post not only successes but sort of struggles as well, which is what works well to get new shooters in the sport.
And that's exactly right. And that's one because it gets a laugh, so that's great. But people can find rocking up to their first match really daunting. Like if you rock up to a club for the first time, I recall going to my first major IPSC match and being like, holy shit, like, am I going to get DQ'd? Like, am I going to be an absolute clown? It can be a real struggle for new people as of just breaking the barrier into the sport. Imagine if you've never been to a rifle range before, even, and you wanted to shoot PRS, say, and you're coming down to a match and checking it out. And so I want my videos to portray that, hey, like it's a funny and warm environment. And if you haven't tried it before, come on down. Who cares if you shoot like shit? Who cares if you're last place? Who cares if you fuck it royally? As long as you got a good attitude and you want to come down and have fun, it doesn't matter. You'll enjoy yourself, and hey, you'll get better too. On the second and third match, you'll be better than the first, and you'll pick it up. So, I really want my Instagram to portray that to people out there who are thinking about shooting, to be like, hey, not everyone is an master grade open shooter getting first place gold. There are people there who are sitting in C grade, fucking up every stage and still having the time of their lives. Yeah. Or anywhere in between.
Talking about new shooters, how do you go at work? Obviously, there's some common ground being in the army and shooting, but it's not for everybody. How do you get much sort of flack from your peers?
Oh no, not really. So I think most people are into it. Most people are really into competition shooting, and I think probably the best example of that is SASR has a huge IPSC club there at Swanbourne. They run major matches. Heaps of guys who are shooters of the regiment participate. And if those guys think that civilian shooting is a worthwhile pursuit, then I don't think anyone else is gonna question that a civilian shooting is a really good test of skills and way of improving, keeping yourself sharp. Yeah, I don't think anyone would argue with that.
Is that using military weapons, or is that civilian sort of?
Civvy, yeah. So, Civvy Weapons. It's a Civvy club. They shoot down there at Swanbourne. I mean, lots of guys will go, because if your service sidearm is a HK USP, then you can get a Civvy USP, so you can shoot a facsimile for what your service sidearm is. But having said that, there's also plenty of dudes rolling around with the Shadow 2s and whatever the latest IPSC gun is. So. I mean, the skills that make you a good shooter on the clock probably apply regardless of what pistol you're shooting. So I don't think it matters too much. Yeah,
probably a good job to have some diversity in weapon platforms anyway. Like being good at whatever you're using.
Yeah, it makes sense. You have to be able to run with whatever you pick up, I suppose. So
very good. Well, it's definitely something we've talked about a lot on the podcast, going back to the showing the fuck ups and showing people having fun in terms of getting new shooters interested in the sport, because you do quite often see on social media, the videos that get put up, it's just so pristine, and people do get this perception that, you have to be this level to get into it. Whereas,
or not have fun while you're doing it. It's so morose and serious.
That's the worst thing. I mean, even if you did have to be at this level, you can still have fun. Like I think that's such a good thing to get across to people, is that it's a fun sport, and it's a perishable skill. You got to practice to get really good at it, But hey, you can have fun along the way and learn from the fuck ups. But I think it's so admirable to people that, to see the fuck ups as well. You got to see that.
Yeah.
Like nothing goes 100% to plan on a shoot, on a hunt, whatever. Get it across to people so they realize, hey, oh, fuck, well, if I can get into this, it doesn't matter if I make a mistake. Like, I want to do this. Not everyone's a fucking robot and they're just 100% accuracy.
Yeah, and doing that also allows other people to learn from your mistake, and it just helps grow everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And would you say most of the time the talking point is the fuck ups? Like if you're getting together with everyone afterwards and go, hey, like the stories, generally what went wrong, fuck, I missed this, I tripped over here, whatever. That's generally the talking point, isn't it?
That's one of my favourite things about a good competition or IPSC match is, afterwards everyone on the Sunday afternoon hits the put the guns away and then hit the club bar, have a couple of beers and just talk about the funny stories. Old mate did this, old mate did that, this happened, that happened. There's plenty of good advice from the pros who are looking to get 1% on their score, and there's at the same time those same people are also talking about their fuck ups and what went wrong and having a laugh with the boys. It's great. I love it. In my case, more of the latter rather than the former. But, that's all right too.
I don't know, man. I think you'd give a lot of people a run for their money. You're looking pretty switched on some of your videos, man. To be honest, very, very switched. It's good.
I think I appreciate it.
No dramas.
I actually like your lever gun. That's one of my favourites. I watched you had to shoot, throw a kettlebell.
Oh, yeah, they look brutal.
Get down on the ground, shoot.
Fuck
and,
that.
man, I'm like, bloody hell. But you're just running the gun smoothly in between. And I'm like, okay. I did notice it, which I was like, oh, okay. You put the gun down in the dirt a few times. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I borrowed that stage from what's called the brutality matches in the United States, which is a 2-gun competition that really puts a heavy emphasis on physical challenge and really testing the shit out of your gear. Like you work in the dirt, you throw kettlebells, you drag stuff, you crawl through mud and dirt, and they've had a brutality match in Finland where like there's a stage where you have to jump in an ice pit and shoot targets out to 300 meters. I love that. I think adding a physical challenge. One of the things I wish was more available in IPSC is physical challenge, because IPSC actually really focuses on although there's movement and running around, there's a little bit of physical stuff. It really emphasizes the shooting challenge. And I think putting people under physical duress, like those brutality matches do, is a really, really interesting domain of shooting in Australia that is not seen. And I think that's a shame, because once you throw on a 20-kilo kettlebell and your heart rate's doing 200, that will really, really test your fundamentals, and you'll see where the bleeding edge of your shooting skills are. And it's completely relevant. It's relevant to hunting and to people who are in duty settings as well. If you can't shoot while your heart's doing 200 beats, you're probably not going to be able to perform under stress or duress, or the adrenaline of whatever's going on. So, yeah, I think physical challenge is when I'm running a match. Physical challenge is something I really try and get in there, like that kettlebell throwing event. But unfortunately, there isn't an official discipline in Australia that emphasizes that to the degree I'd like. So if I could, I'd start my own, range derp brutality shooting league, a 2-gun competition where people have to throw kettlebells and flip tires and shit. But currently, the only member is me, so it's a work in progress.
The reason not many people in Australia do that is that because no one's actually willing to start it up, or is that because the clubs aren't willing to put people under that sort of physical stress and maybe cause more of a chance to fuck up?
Yeah, I think both factors in play. Like it's a relatively new thing in the United States as it is. And whereas because Australia has really not gotten into multi-gun competitions, other than like cowboy action or single action as it's called now in a very limited sense, we don't really have anything in the 2-gun or the 3-gun space. So that discipline hasn't naturally come across to us. But there's no reason why we couldn't. Like if your two-gun event in the United States is an AR-15 and a semi-automatic pistol, well, why not have a two-gun event here where you're running a lever gun and a semi-automatic pistol? Like, you can still test all the same challenges, which is physical ability, shooting and marksmanship out to, say, 300 meters, as well as your pistol marksmanship out to, say, 50 meters or 25 meters in a setting where you have to do, multiple targets, multiple movements, and maybe, I don't know, carry something heavy, whatever, throw a kettlebell. I think there's no reason why we can't do that here in Australia. It's just unfamiliar. And even in the United States, it doesn't really have an overarching body. Whereas, as you know, all the disciplines in Australia really have a sort of global body that regulate them. So there's no reason why we couldn't. I mean, realistically, anywhere where you could run a PRS, I think, could run a pretty decent brutality style event. Or even pistol ranges. You just accept the fact that your rifle engagements are going to be a lot shorter distance. But then you can just make your steel targets harder. That's easy to do. If you've only got a 50-meter range, use a smaller steel silhouette for the steel targets for the rifle. And I think that would be really interesting. What you see in the United States is that young people are more into the dynamic shooting sports and these whole events where physical challenge. There's also the tactical games, I think, in the United States, which is basically just like CrossFit with AR-15s. Really taking off. So yeah, let's bring it. I want to do it here. If it was available, I would shoot it. And if work and kids didn't allow me to have very minimal time in my day, I would gladly be running it myself at whatever range will let me run it. So yeah.
Very good.
Sweet.
I kind of like the theory of it, because out hunting, sometimes you're doing the old Harry Holt, across an open field to take a shot or cut the deer off or cut pigs off or something like that. Or you might have to climb up a large hill. Sometimes you might actually have to climb over a rock face or something like that through a water course, as was demonstrated last weekend. And all these things certainly do elevate that heart rate and make that. You're right. It makes the basic principles and fundamentals of shooting harder. I do like it. I do wonder if it's not so as sexy. Like PRS and sort of IPSC is a bit sexy. You've got the Gucci gear and you're clean and you're like, yeah, sick. You got fluid motions and it sort of looks cool. I do wonder if it doesn't take off because people look at it and be like, oh, I've got to actually lift a heavy
Some guy's flailing around on the ground with a rifle.
Yeah.
But I've seen a few guys in the States, and they've had to even do like the old rope climb or wall climb and then tie flips or something like that. It looks pretty cool. It does. Helps having an AR.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. There you go. Just see if you can book out the OBS course at the put a few targets up
after every obstacle. That'd be right, actually.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
Well, hey, I reckon 5 should go and do that. That's combat shooting. Hey, do the obs course and then run some targets. Get around it. That will test your shooting. Yeah.
So 5 is getting the dick of the pineapple in this podcast.
Just courtesy of Josh.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to keep a low profile on the barracks after this body drops.
We've got a few members that are ex NCOs from 5 to 2, so that's not going to help.
All good. Anyway, Aaron, what is your most treasured possession?
Most treasured possession is my grandfather's passport from 1942, 43 from the Second World War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he fought in the Warsaw Uprising in 1944 at the ripe old age of 14.
What?
And I have his passport, which has from like 1942 onwards of various comings and goings on it. I obviously, other than it just being a great connection to my grandfather, I like to think that was probably on him when he was there fighting in the uprising in 44, sticking it to the Germans.
Bloody hell.
They built them differently back then. Like, imagine 14-year-olds these days doing that.
No, they're too worried about, like, gender fluids.
No, the power goes off and their world's ended.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. he got shot in the knee. You know, it's like the Skyrim meme. You know, I used to be an adventurer like you until I got an arrow to the knee, but he got a 8mm Mauser to the knee. And I remember as a kid sort of, you know, looking at the hole in his kneecap and being quite fascinated by it.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
wild.
Story.
Yeah. You kept his leg.
What's that?
Kept his leg.
Yeah, on the shelf.
Yeah. Oh, completely fine. Yeah. He was quite lucky. Remained mobile. Didn't lose the leg or anything. But yeah, you know, I mean, you know, you're right. Like the people of that age fighting in what was, you know, one of the most intense urban struggles of a period of about 60 days there against the Germans. It's pretty wild to think about. And he wasn't even the oldest, you know, that fought in that battle. So
14's very young.
It's only just a teen.
Yeah. So yeah, you're never young to tool up and stack bad guys. That's my takeaway from that one.
Far out. Well, that's taken me by surprise, that answer, to be honest. I thought maybe you'd pick a gun. I'm assuming you wouldn't say your Adler is the most treasured possession, and I say that because if anyone's seen your gunsmithing video on Instagram, I'm guessing
that video got taken down on TikTok. I'm so pissed about that. Yeah, people were getting around it, but TikTok took it down.
TikTok's a little funny. Like
I'm on account warning on TikTok.
Oh wow,
such a load of shit. Yeah, but yeah, my gunsmithing video. I don't know what about that video means I don't love my Adler.
I'm picking up that you'd class him as a tool.
It is a tool, like in the very derogatory sense. So in the example of that freaking TikTok video, I was halfway through a prac shotgun stage and I all of a sudden got a dead trigger. And I was like, what the hell? Like, run that? Nothing, dead trigger. And then I take my hand off and the trigger falls out of the gun. Like, falls out of the gun. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm looking around on the ground to find the trigger pin had just decided to yeet itself out of the receiver into the ground. So that infamous TikTok video of me bashing it with a bit of wood is me trying to get the pin back into the receiver. It's called the Franken Adler now. You'll notice it's got a different coloured barrel because I blew up the original.
You blew up the original.
How'd you manage that?
I'm not too sure what happened. I may have been putting slugs through a tight choke.
That'll do it.
But I did that. I put like a whole box of slugs through it and nothing happened. And then I just looked at it one day and the barrel was all fucked up. I was like, oh, it's not too good. So yeah.
Bit lucky there. Could have banana peeled in your head. Jesus.
Until I shot the shotgun nationals this year, like I've never really done a lot with shotguns at all. Like I don't know how shotguns work. Like I'm just used to. Ever since I was a young kid, I was a pistol shooter, right? I don't, pistols, you just put ammo in them and they go bang. I didn't realize that shotguns have like different chokes and different kinds of ammo. I just put the shells in and pull the trigger and see what happens. And I don't know, apparently you blow up your barrel if you put slugs through a tight choke, a full choke.
There you go. There's another one for learning from previous mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
How does the little reflex sight go on with the Adler?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for IPSC prac shotgun, and I don't know. I'd imagine it'd be good for pigs in the scrub too. I suppose because you just point it and that dot is there, and you just put the dot in front of the clay target or the steel target you're trying to drop, and smash that trigger. And like on close range targets, it's great because you don't even have to put the dot on the target. You just whiz it up, and as soon as you see that flash of red, you know you're pretty much in the right spot, and you just hit it.
Yeah.
You'll see most of the guys winning the prac shotgun nationals or the IPSC shotgun nationals are running like the Barraca Black Ops, the mag-fed stuff in the main. Can't get that here in WA. Rip. But they've all got like a reflex red dot on top.
Yeah.
It's just the fastest sighting system. People are often going for a bigger window than I have there. That's a pretty small dot. People are going for like the larger hollow sun holographic stuff. But I already had that, so it cost $0. So
yeah,
that's what I'm running. But yeah,
nice.
Beautiful.
I'd like to get another one day.
Yeah.
Should probably do it before the laws tighten up and become ridiculous. But yeah, I'd like to give IPSC a go, to be honest, and that's a good justification to get new guns in South Australia.
yeah.
Not sure if you have that in WA. You got to pretty much provide a detailed reason now as to why your other rifles or firearms or pistols can't do the same job as what you've got.
Yeah, in WA it's really bad. So people get surprised when I tell them I have 2 303s in WA on an open license. They're like, "How'd you do that?" And the justification I have is that one has an optic and one doesn't, which is a pretty common justification here in WA. But if you want to go more than 2 of the same caliber, it's an uphill battle here in WA. My pistols, I'm on my fourth or fifth 9mm at the moment, and I have to give a detailed explanation of different IPSC divisions and why they require different pistols. It's good times, yeah.
And then the person you're telling probably has zero idea on what you're on about.
Yeah,
they're just like, yeah, that's different words from the last. So
I don't want to impugn the honour of the fine folks at WA licensing who are currently reviewing my application for another 9mm. I postulate you're correct.
Just let us know when it's approved, and then we'll release this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, well put. All right, we'll change tact a bit here, Aaron. What is your favourite movie?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Terminator 2. There is no greater film ever or ever will be. You know, obviously as a gun guy, Terminator 2 is great. You know, everything from the lever action 87, you know, the Beretta, the 1911s. He nails the T1000 with the M4 carbine on top of the truck towards the end of the film. Obviously the Wombat gun, the 40mm. Yeah. Terminator 2 is actually the first movie I can ever remember watching as a kid, and just loved it ever since. It probably has no small part to do with my love of firearms. Is Terminator 2. You know, it's the perfect action movie. So a close second would be Aliens. Who doesn't love the pulse rifle? But yeah, Terminator 2.
Aliens? I don't think I've seen
Aliens, Predators.
What?
Alien versus Predator?
Predator? Alien?
No, stop. Aliens, the original. Disregard anything involving Aliens versus Predator. Those movies are garbage. Go and watch Aliens immediately after this podcast. You seriously haven't seen Aliens?
Are you talking about the one where there's that girl?
No, you're making shit up.
No.
And the guy?
Are you talking about Sigourney Weaver?
Possibly.
No, don't put words in his mouth.
No, I have to. Otherwise, we'll be going and a for 10 minutes.
He has no idea what he's talking about. He's just fishing with words.
She's got.
She's got hair.
Picture her.
Aliens, the colonial marines have what they call the M41A pulse rifle, which is actually a Thompson gun dressed up with sci-fi stuff, and the grenade launcher underneath is a cut-down Spaz 12 shotgun. It's iconic. You have to see Aliens. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, I'm not the only one that hasn't watched it, Shannon. I'm gonna have to give it a go. Actually, I think I know the one that you're talking about. Is a setting? I'm inclined to say a space station that gets overrun, but I don't think it is.
Yes,
it is.
Man. Yeah, it's a colony on a planet, but whatever. Yeah, you basically got it.
And the main character is a chick that ends up kicking ass, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, boom. I'm on it.
Of course you've seen it. It's pretty well entrenched in like pop culture, man. Like you would have seen it.
Pop culture.
It's been a while though. Like since
it's been a while. Yeah. Been a long time.
I can't remember shit about it, but
bloody hell. Actually, I don't mind the Predator movies, but that's way far-fetched. But that's all right. Aliens. Immediately I thought Aliens versus Predator. I really did.
So do you watch movies and sort of nerd out on the gun stuff and any sort of space things like that, Aaron? I'm taking it.
Oh, yeah. Like anyone that watches a film with me, like prepare yourself. Like there was an episode of Peaky Blinders where the main character has, and that's set in like the 1920s or some shit. Yeah. He's got an SMLE, but he's got the wrong SMLE. He's got a 308 Ishapore, and you can tell that because the magazine's a different shape between the 308 and the 303. And I'm like, that's the wrong fucking SMLE. He's carrying a 308 Ishapur. And my wife is like, please
don't ruin it for me.
Or like if you've seen Gravity with Sandra Bullock, like space movies are even worse.
Yes.
Like Gravity with Sandra Bullock, like you cannot watch that movie with me because I will just be autistically spurging out about how factually inaccurate that movie is. The Chinese space station is in a completely different orbit to the International Space Station. You can't just go from one to the other. It's not how that works.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, that's a whole separate conversation. But yeah, you know, like I've paused movies before with friends to be like, oh, you know, like that's a really cool firearm. It's historically accurate. For instance, in Danger Close Long Term, great Australian war movie, by the way, that the Viet Cong have STG-44s, the German Sturmgewehr of World War II fame. And one of my mates was like, oh, like the prop department ran out of Kalashnikovs. Why is that guy carrying an STG-44? And I'm like, no, let me stop you right there. At the end of World War II, the Soviets captured all these STG-44s from the German Wehrmacht and then later donated them to North Vietnamese as military aid. And that's how they came to be in possession of Viet Cong in the Battle of Long Tan. And that's why it's actually historically accurate for the Viet Cong to have German Sturmgewehrs at the Battle of Long Tan. And my mates were like, you need to
get laid.
I like it though. It's good.
No, that's fair.
So yeah, it is not possible to watch a space movie or any movie involving firearms with me. You will regret it. Is at least what my friends and wife tell me. So
I kind of want to pick a movie now, an older movie, and watch it with you just to experience this.
Well, we've talked about it a few times on the podcast about watching movies where, you know, there's actually good examples of people running a gun. So, for example, like John Wick and Keanu Reeves, but
he's Hollywooded up a little bit.
Yeah, it's Hollywooded up because you got to make it still look good. But at least you know he knows the fundamentals. And I've watched stuff where he's actually been out, you know, learning what he's doing. It's not all just Hollywooded up. And
he's quick, man.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Fuck, he's quick.
Have you got a favourite of you know Hollywood who sort of can run a gun?
Oh, Keanu's hard to beat because you've obviously seen him doing all that training. He actually does a lot of 3-gun training for that, which is why the John Wick movies are like 3-gun the movie. Especially in John Wick 3 when like the bad guys are all armored, but he gets out this 9mm PCC and he can't shoot the bad guys because they're armored up. And it's like, yeah, you've got a 9mm PCC. If you picked up any AR-15, you would have been able to blaze her out through that body armor. But anyway, that's a second round. The John Wick movies are basically like 3-gun the movie. The definitive one for me has got to be Val Kilmer in Heat, right? Like as a gun guy, Heat is just like one of the best movies ever. But the tac reload that Val Kilmer does on his Colt carbine, it's pre-M4, so he's got like a Colt model, whatever that carbine is. The attack reload he does in that shootout at the bank was actually used by US Marines as instruction on like, hey, this is how you do attack reload under fire while doing fire and movement. So, yeah, Heat. That scene would probably be the one for me with Val Kilmer. Yeah, and obviously Al Pacino's got the FNC. He's got the FNC in that scene, and De Niro has some other kind of Colt. The sergeant from Saving Private Ryan has. I think he's got a Galil, and they've all got those sick chest rigs under their suits for the bank robbery. Yeah, that scene in Heat is just, as a gun guy, holy shit, it's fantastic.
Nice, the old gun porn. I like it.
It's good, though, when they get it right or they get it close to right. You're sort of like, oh, yeah, I can get behind this movie.
Yeah, and unfortunately, those scenes, like movies like John Wick or Heat, where the director like really has a focus on firearms being accurate, just seems super rare. You know, most Hollywood types don't give a shit about firearms. Like, obviously, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Yeah. Some stuff was going on that day.
It was all intentional.
Halle Berry does a good run. She obviously trained, I think, with Keanu Reeves for that movie as well. And watching her,
she did the same.
Yeah, like it's fucking intense. Oh, both of them. You're just like, okay, you are now on my top tier of actors because of the length that you're willing to go through to make it seem sort of realistic, which is good. Because one of my pet peeves actually with movies, have you ever seen like guys will start and they'll aim and then suddenly it'll cut to another scene and they're, you know, instinctually shooting from the hip. And you're like, yeah, it's not happening. like you just ruined it. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. I'm gonna have a beer.
All those ones where they aim down like a scope, but then they're not actually looking down the scope. They're looking above it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you got to do it. Do it properly.
That brings me to a question you said before. Sorry, just quickly. You're running your 303 with not your trigger finger. Was that difficult to get used to?
Oh, that is his trigger finger.
I need to practice that more because I'm actually not very good at that. I need to practice that more. So you'll see on the long range shots, I do go back to a trigger finger for better accuracy. But what you're supposed to do is run the bolt with thumb and forefinger and just slap the trigger with your middle finger it for close range fast shooting. I need to practice that some more. But according to the old boys, you know, that's what they did at in Korea and World War II and World War I when the bad guys were coming over the top and you needed to run those 3-0s real fast. You know, apparently there was like one battle in the Korean War where, and it might have even been 3-hour at Kapyong, but apparently they were shooting those 303s so quick that the receivers got so hot that the bolts were like sticking to the receivers.
Wow.
Bloody arrows.
That's an intense rate of fire for a bolt gun. But yeah, so apparently what you do, or even ring finger you can do. So you got 3 fingers on the bolt and then just ring finger the trigger. I need to practice that and get better at it for nationals next time, and then maybe I'll beat that one smart ass who has the bloody 1890 long tom. Yeah.
That'd be a good feat, though.
Everyone's always up for a bit of fingering, so.
100%.
Speak for yourself, bro.
How did you go coming across that information with the running the bolt and then slapping it with the ring finger?
Oh, well, primarily looking at those guys on YouTube running 303s in multi gun competitions in the US. Another excellent one for that kind of content is Bloke on the Range over in Switzerland, who's an English fella living in Switzerland. He's got lots of awesome guns and really informative gun content on YouTube. So they all talk about that. And like any old boy at the range, like if you go to the range with the 303, all the old boys are like, do you know how to use your middle finger? And I'm like, hey, what are we talking about here? Like,
yes, I do.
Never have I pulled a 303 out at a match without like the old boys descending on me like a cloud of flies to impart their Enfield knowledge. It's a real danger. Like,
it is dangerous at a range because
it is.
They love imparting some wisdom.
yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, we shouldn't pay the old fellas out.
No, they're good. They do. They
Oh, no.
They actually do bring, you know, some wisdom and some knowledge over the time. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, we give them shit sometimes because like sometimes you just want to fucking shoot, and they feel the need. But that's just old blokes. Like they just want to have a chat, chin wag. And if they're volunteering and their range fees are getting paid by being a range officer for the day, they've got nothing else to do than have a chat with you. So fair enough.
That's where you'll be in 20 years' time.
100%. I always give those old codgers the time of day because I hope when I'm the senile 70-year-old ROing a range and telling stories about my deployment to Iraq in 2017, I hope whatever young boy is getting subjected to that incredibly boring story listens to whatever crap I have to say.
So I'm worried that there won't be anyone new when we're 70 years old to pester, just with the gun culture in Australia.
I'm not with that attitude.
This is true.
Well, that's why that's why what you guys do with the podcast is so important, and that's what I try and do on Instagram is, you know, get the next generation of shooters around it. And I think if we keep doing that, then young people will keep shooting, and it won't be a problem. I'm hopeful, at least.
100%. 100%. I think we're all hopeful, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if we keep showing that it's fun and it's a good way to spend time with your mates, then I think that's it's going to keep going. So
yeah, to some degree. It's just whether we can get these laws or the government just to stop etching away at our liberty. Let's not go down that tangent.
Yeah, that's a whole nother rabbit hole, right?
it is. Yeah. It is indeed. All right, Aaron, recommend someone to be a guest on this podcast.
I've got a good one for that. I think if you haven't already done them, but just to return very briefly to the most egregious Hollywood fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Go for it.
Is the Ant-Man movie where they wanted Ant-Man to be able to stop the gun from shooting with ants, and the ants get in the way of the hammer to stop the hammer from falling. But the gun the guy was carrying was a Glock, so it doesn't have a hammer. So they CGI'd a hammer onto the back of the Glock 19 or 17 that agent was carrying, so they could have ants get in the way of the hammer to stop it from falling. And it's like,
oh wow,
you took a striker-fired gun, put it in the hand of this guy, and then CGI'd a hammer on it so the ants could stop the hammer from falling. Why didn't you just have someone on set who knew anything about guns, like law enforcement guns that have a hammer, SIG P226, like it's one of the most Beretta 92, like some of the most common firearms in law enforcement and military around the world already have a hammer. So why did you take a striker-fired gun and then CGI a fucking hammer on the back of it just so Ant-Man could stop it from shooting with ants?
Because it doesn't look cool.
Like,
That's
my brother in Christ, someone on set needs to know something about guns, please. It's so easy. How much would you pay to CGI a hammer onto the back of a Glock? Like, why?
That's a fair call.
Sorry, that's the closest I've come to walking out of a movie in a long time.
No, that's fair.
I will not get over that. As a passionate Glock shooter, I will not get over that.
Well, there's prop companies out there that you can obviously whatever film company can hire off of. Like, surely, and you're right. Surely there's someone on, if they're going to use guns in a movie, surely there's a subject matter expert there that can be like, hold on a sec, motherfuckers. Like,
yeah.
Whoa. Pump the brakes.
100%.
Like, let's just spend $5 on hiring a different prop. Yeah, instead of spending $2,000 CGIing a hammer.
More than that.
Jeez, that's conservative.
You know what they probably did? They're probably like, we got a CGI ants, so let's just CGI a hammer. That's probably what they've done.
They probably CGI'd the whole gun.
But yeah.
Well.
That one has always burned my brain.
I mean, while we're back on this, the one that gets me is the pump action that gets cycled like about 30 times.
Yeah. Or that, yeah. They cock it in one scene and then they recock it 2 seconds later in another scene. You're like, you just spin around, mate. Oh, fuck.
Every time. Yeah. That does me too.
This is shocking.
Oh, that and the never-ending magazines. Like,
yeah.
To be honest, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are terrible for it. They are, there's no reload. It's just like he's got that M60 and it's just, doesn't stop. There's no reloads at all. You're like, okay, how much ammo can one man carry?
Infinity.
Yeah. Oh, except T2. No, the gun stuff in T2 is pretty good. I'll raise the flag in honor of Terminator 2 as my favorite movie. That one's all right for an Arnie movie.
Does he reload that lever gun? I can't remember.
Yeah. In fact, there's one scene in the movie where he chucks it at the kid. He chucks it at John Connor to stick more shells in it, which you'd be doing all the time with an 87 because I think they only hold like 4 or 5. But
maybe there was a different director on that movie.
Yeah, or a subject matter expert.
Recommendation for a guest on the podcast. Have you guys done Gun Girl Danielle yet? Has she been on? I feel like she should have been.
No, not yet.
No. Do you guys know Gun Girl Danielle?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We follow each other on Instagram. Why the recommendation?
So she's awesome. In fact, she just picked up second place in the States here, state titles here in WA.
Oh, wow.
So she's really big into her clay target shooting, but also shoots like long range rifle and hunting as well. Like pretty much all forms of shooting. She's always constantly threatening to take me to a clay target range because I've never done that before.
Do it.
Yeah, so next time I'm in Perth with some time to spare, she's going to take me clay target shooting and school me at the clay target range, and I'm going to reciprocate by taking her to an IPSC so I can school her at pistol. But I think Danny's fantastic. She's quite funny. She should definitely be on the podcast if she hasn't yet already. Then you've got to get Danny on, and she's an avid hunter as well.
Yeah. See, I got a little bit confused actually because I thought she lived in the States at one stage. So
what gave you that?
So, well, I've seen her use some ARs, and she might have obviously been there on holidays or whatever. But I'm like, wait a second, aren't you from Perth or WA? I'm like, hang on, are you here? Because she was doing it in her SSAA. She's got she's obviously got a tire on that she's wearing for the shotgun shooting, and there's that SSAA badge, and I'm like, whoa. And are you over there or here? But yeah, we do follow her, and congratulations to her actually for taking it. Second, was it?
Yeah, second in the state tower titles. I don't know what that means because I know precisely fuck all about
actually, I think I've seen
shooting.
that, yeah.
All I know is that Danny's constantly taking the piss out of me for the Adler because I guess being a clay target shooter, you lock down at any shotgun that costs less than like $5,000, I guess.
100%.
Yeah. Clay target shooters are just the biggest snobs. I'm constantly taking the piss out of her for that, and she's taking the piss out of me for this piece of crap Adler. So,
guys at the ski range that roll around with like $30,000 shotguns. I'm like, fuck, like it's insane, man. Yeah. Insane, but
it's crazy. The Beretta rap at Nationals, I forget his name, but he was like, we had a guy bring in a silver pigeon that he Cerakoted camo, and it was like some limited edition Beretta silver pigeon. And I was like, oh, cool, why not? Like, why wouldn't you Cerakote your Beretta silver pigeon? And he's like,
that'd almost be blasphemous for Beretta, wouldn't it?
That's what's put me off Cerakoting my 682.
Yeah, is a limited edition silver pigeon a nice gun? I mean, I don't know. So.
Actually, that's the one that I'd like for ski is silver pigeon or a DT11. But hey, they're light years apart.
Yeah, it's a decent jump.
Fucking $3,000, 10 or 12 grand. Oh yeah. Jeez.
Well,
Caleb's got to get a shotgun. He's been looking at a couple of straight pulls actually lately. Haven't you? All the past 12 months.
Yeah, I've switched focus now. I'm going to get a 223 next rather than a shotgun.
Well, we all know you can't use a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because
he's got T-Rex arms, man, and it's like, meh. Yeah.
It's only because I've used shotgun less than everyone else. So whatever. You guys go shooting every fucking weekend shotgun.
Yeah, well, if you come, you get better.
Well, true. You can take care of my kids for me.
Bring them along. There's kids there.
Anyway, while we're talking about firearms, I'll change the wording of the last question. What was your first firearm, Aaron?
Shit. So first one that I owned or first one that I shot?
Both. Well, we usually go with first one you own, but hey, take us on the journey.
Yeah, so I mean, first one I shot would have been, I remember my dad's Anschutz 22 bolt action rifle.
Oh, nice.
And so I was just a young tacker, but I remember he used to tell me it was a magic trick, but he would put a balloon, blow up a balloon inside a different coloured balloon and tell me to aim for the outside of the balloon. And then when I shot it, it would magically change colour. And I thought that was just the coolest thing ever as a kid.
That is
yeah. So I've got fond memories of shooting that little 22 bolt gun as a kid. The first one I bought with my own dime was a number 4 Enfield, 1942 Savage.
That's savage.
Nice.
And that's the one I used at IPSC Nats. So I have that to this day. All those years later, I happened to walk into the VRA range at Bendigo, and one of the old boys there had a number 4 Enfield, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm selling it for $400." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. Okay, I'll buy that then." And I'm glad I did, because holy shit, you'll not get a completely immaculate, unmolested number 4 or any Enfield really unmolested for $400 anymore. So I picked it up. I shot some camels with it in the Northern Territory. That was fun. Shot a few Anzac Day service rifle matches with it, and IPSC nationals now. So yeah, it's a damn fun rifle. And for all I know, that rifle could have landed at D-Day at Normandy on Gold or Juno Beach with some Brit or Canadian. Shit, it could have been at the Battle of Arnhem in Operation Market Garden, 1944. That's awesome. So yeah, and now. Probably some Brit carried that rifle in the Second World War and managed to survive not getting killed by the Germans in bloody landing at Normandy in 1944. And here I am bloody running around shooting IPSC with it. So
nice.
You've painted one of your landfills, haven't you?
Oh, shit, no. Oh, no. I can't believe you would accuse me of doing anything that crass. No, I would not molest a 1942 Enfield, believe me. I have painted in a roadie baby poo my 357 lever gun, but that's just a Rossi, so that's the baby poo gun. People get really, really upset about that. They're like, what the hell have you done to this gun, man? I'm like, it's a lever action Rossi from Brazil. It cost like $1,100. Who cares? Calm down. And it's my Blood Diamond rifle. Oh my, you like Blood Diamond, right? That's another great movie. The gun guy.
It is a good movie.
Who doesn't want to be Leonardo DiCaprio in Blood Diamond with that Colt carbine? So, yeah, my baby poo 357 was inspired by those Rhodesian fowls in baby poo. So yeah,
nice. Well, you just touched on hunting some camels. Do you actually do much hunting?
No, I would really, really, really like to do more. So the camel cull in the Northern Territory was just pest camels, and that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep.
And you're helping out a station owner who has like just hundreds of camels wrecking their life and wrecking fences and otherwise making life cattle farming difficult. So that's something I would really like to do more of. Otherwise, hunting, like the only other things I've really done is like bunny blasting with the 22. As you do when you're a kid.
Good fun.
Oh shit, yeah. Absolutely. So that's something I'd really like to do more of. I'd love to get down to the high country or Tassie or shit. A mate of mine's just gone to New Zealand for a deer hunt, and that looked spectacular. I'd really love to do that. I'd love to be able to put my own venison in the fridge. But time and opportunity. Right. You got to prioritize your effort.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I've been magpie geese shooting in the Northern Territory as well.
Oh, wow.
Which is always entertaining. A very unique experience. Getting the old magpie geese in the Northern Territory. That just went to my German Shepherd. So.
Oh no! Really? No.
Well, I didn't know what to do with it. Like, holy shit! I didn't even know. I just knew, like, you get your permit to shoot magpie geese, and then you go to the dam area and you shoot magpie geese, and you can shoot 4 a day, and you have to take the meat. Those are the regulations. So we did that, and I had all this magpie geese breast, and I didn't know what to do with it. So yeah, the German Shepherd Keisha, my dog, she ate well that night.
She knew what to do. Yeah, she knew exactly what to do. Probably didn't even touch the sides as it went down.
Yeah.
You know that you obviously touched on you can hunt Crown Land in Darwin. You can get a Crown Land permit. There's a couple of spots just up the highway on the right, past Adelaide River Bridge on the right. You could almost drive past it, but there's pigs there. There is. Yeah.
So I've actually got some friends outside Army in the Northern Territory who are often down that way, and I'm hoping to be able to get out, maybe take this out and go out with those fellas for to check that out, because I've never done that before. I'm super keen to get on that. Yeah,
you'll be hooked on pigs. Yeah, because it almost suits you, like fast paced, multiple multiple targets. Just it's sick, and you've got to move with the mob, so definitely would suit you. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm keen to give it a whirl.
Is there much hunting opportunities in WA? We don't know much about WA because we sort of just poo-hoo it as not part of Australia. No, because of the gun laws.
To Darwin East.
because of the gun laws.
I mean, we've had one WA guest, so we've had Jason from Hunt Catch Cook, and he sort of mentioned that really it's just pig. That's what you got to get out for, and what he does mostly. So, how have you found it?
Yeah, so it's private land only, and certainly down in anywhere near Perth or anywhere that people actually live, I definitely wouldn't be surprised that pigs are the only game in town. I know up north, much like anywhere in sort of remote central Australia, that there's like goats, camels, donkeys are all rife. There are certainly plenty of government ed districts up north that do culls. But unless you know a private landowner that's wants you to assist with their camel, donkey, or goat problem, it's not a thing here in WA, unfortunately.
I mean, it is much the same in South Australia where we are, in that it's all private land. There's no public land available to go hunt. So it is disappointing because there's so much opportunity, and the government can make so much money off hunters. Honestly, opening up state forests to go hunting in.
It seems far-fetched, though. It's not a thing in WA with the amount of Crown land. I mean, you've got the Kimberleys and all that. That's vast space. Yeah. That you wouldn't like in Adelaide. Adelaide Hills has a lot of Crown land, but it's very populated, a lot of housing. Okay, it might be 10-acre blocks or a couple 100-acre blocks, but there's a lot of it between the Crown land. Whereas WA, it seems a lot bigger. Like it just seems
Perth, and then there's
uninhabited. Like as I said, the Kimberleys is huge. Like, why couldn't you pay for a permit to hunt the Kimberleys? Well, okay, there might not be much out there, but there's no people to accidentally shoot. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I just drove to Darwin. I just had to take a car, run up from Perth to Darwin, and I had to stop several times for goats, like mobs of goats crossing the highway, like north of Carnarvon. I can't remember how far north I was, but somewhere between Carnarvon and Darwin, it's like 2,000 k's, whatever. And I'm like, shit. Instead of having the government waste our taxpayer dollars on culls and baids, charge me $100 for a Crown land permit, and I'll bloody go to town on those goats. I got the 357 ready to go. I'm there tomorrow. I want to do goat curry. Yeah. I want to make a goat curry, and I will sort that problem out for you, and I will pay you to do it. So please, just let me at it.
And pretty much every hunter would do exactly the same thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
bloody oath. It baffles me because you're right. The government can. It's a revenue stream for the government, or a possible revenue stream for the government. So why don't they take the opportunity and learn from places like Victoria or New South Wales? I don't understand why it's not a federally sort of managed system.
Well, it's because the people in power have no idea about guns, and it's a fear factor. And uneducation is definitely a huge aspect to it of people in positions of authority. There's no doubt about that. But I've got a burning question. And it is, there's a lot of burning questions.
It's like fucking syphilis on STD. You're obviously in Darwin, and to me, Darwin and Queensland is the pinnacle of fishing in Australia. Like, it fucking doesn't get any better. Do you do much fishing?
No.
No!
Yeah, I know. That's a super controversial statement. If my mates are going fishing and I'm like, hey, if you want me to sit on a boat and drink piss and listen, to you guys talking shit, 100% I'm there, I'm there. And I do that, but I have no skill. I mean, I wasn't blessed with many skills in the genetic lottery. And none of them were spent on fishing. Like in the old RPG of life, I spent 0 points on the skill that is fishing.
Well, you just got to be colourful fishing.
Just use your Adler, man, and when they're close to the water, boom!
I would have more luck with that than any fishing rod that I've ever thrown in the water.
Damn. You know what you should do? Apply for some croc permits, and when they hit up Shady Camp, just go down the river on the boat, sink some piss, and sit there with your 357. As soon as you see a croc, boom.
If I could, I would. If I could, I'd be there. I'll give that a go. 100%.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Croc hunting. It'll be good.
I was thinking about it the other day actually, and I'm like, well, you know, apart from finding a big one, they just sit there. It's not like, yeah, you can go to the side of a bank in Darwin and just like on low tide look, and you'd be like, oh,
Just so they're opening up for hunting. The first bit would be like that, but then they'll clue one. It's like going hunting on a property that hasn't had any shooters for 10 years, and the rabbits just sit there. But then the crocs will work out what's going on, and they'll fuck off as soon as they see it.
yeah. So right, there's a period of time, a grace period of time where
It's just they haven't been touched in how long? Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if you know, but they when I was up in Darwin, they would every couple of years they'd hand out 1,000 permits for crocs. Do they still do that?
Now, as I understand, that's not currently done, but there's certainly been people saying that it should come back because the numbers are huge, right? Numbers are very healthy. It's not like back in the Croc Dundee days where there was like endangered species because everyone was nabbing them. So there's people who are asking for it, and I think that's a great idea because you go down anywhere and there's just thousands of the bastards there waiting to chomp your dogs. So yeah, why not?
yeah, I heard they were thinking about maybe opening up a season for them, or if that was what they were thinking or was proposed. I'm not sure.
Proposed, I think. Yeah, I heard the same thing.
I think that was the proposal, maybe with a sale of tags. I know it's been proposed before, and I think that's a great idea too. But
I think it looks sweet having a full taxidermy of a croc on the wall.
Yeah, that'd be something worth travelling for. Although it wouldn't be difficult until they got wary. Yeah, it did just look awesome, man. Absolutely awesome, spread out on your wall. There's axis deer in Darwin. It's far and few between, but they're chittle. And I think fallow. I've seen a couple of fallow taken from Darwin. I don't know how ripe they are, but you'd probably have to look for them. But they're about somewhere. Good luck finding them.
That's a good description.
But one of the things that really appeals to me about that is the skill involved, right? Like in terms of like tracking and finding and like the skills. I've never done that before, so the skills involved in tracking and stalking and all that, I find that really fascinating. When I went camel shooting, like there was no skill involved whatsoever because there's just like a mob of 50 camels and they just sort of stand around with a confused expression on their faces. You gun them down, but camels are dumb as dog shit. Like they certainly the mob that we encountered didn't want to move until about 3 or 4 of them had been dropped. So, and even then they were walking at a pretty sedate pace. Like they weren't too worried.
You just start feeling bad for them.
Just dumb so I find like the whole deer stalking thing like really fascinating in terms of the skill set. And it's not, it's not just about the physical challenge. Then it's about the mental game and your skills as a survivalist. I find that something that I certainly aspire to, and I just need to make the time to invest in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all down to time, isn't it? Like,
well, it would be hard to juggle up with your range time and your work and your family, and then add hunting onto that. It'd get tricky.
You can only spread yourself so thin. What's coming up for you in terms of IPSC shooting and what you got going on?
The next event, I may actually still try and duck down for shotgun titles in SA down your way. So I know that's coming up sometime in October, and I may be able to get down for that. We'll run the old Adler out if she's cooperating. And NT rifle titles are coming up, I think, in November. So we'll need to I'll need to either reload or bend over and buy some factory 303 for the rifle states. So yeah, SA shotgun titles I'm hoping to get to, but TBC with work, and rifle states in the NT are definitely super keen for. And after that, the next big one will be IPSC Nationals next year. So I will be hoping to shoot IPSC Nationals, which should be around Easter next year. That's in South Australia as well, actually. I'm hoping to shoot the open division with my 1916 Luger. I will shoot production division with my 1943 P38. I'll shoot shotgun with the Radler, and rifle with there was an Izhevsk Mosin sitting at the gun shop in Darwin, which I really actively resisting the temptation to buy, and it's got like the side folding triangle bayonet as well. I think that's just awesome. So the only thing I need is a stupid historical shotgun, and I'll be able to just shoot the entirety of IPSC Nationals, both pistol matches, rifle and shotgun, with really stupid historical firearms. So that's the goal anyway.
Nice.
Oh, if you're down in SA, we'll catch up with you and we'll cook you some venison snags and, make you feel welcome.
Shit.
Yeah.
See if we can get you out as well. Just spotlighting or might work out for a deer.
Yeah, if you're down for long enough, hopefully.
Yeah, keen for a beer and whatever. If I'm in your grid square, that'd be bloody awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
Done deal. We'll lock that in.
There's not too many ranges, so it's in our grid square. To be honest, there's not too many. Talking about ranges, what range are you at? So all the peeps can come up and bug you on a weekend. What range do you shoot?
And tell us the opposite one.
In Darwin, I shoot at the Top End Practical Shooting League, TAPSL, which is out towards Litchfield, basically on the way out of Darwin. Very, very big dedicated practical shooting set up there. That's where Nationals was run this year. I also shoot at Darwin Pistol Club, which is closer to the city, and they have a pretty big practical scene there as well as all the other bits and bobs. And when I'm home at Perth, I shoot at Canning. That's my home club, pretty much near Jandakot Airport there. And when I'm down here at Albany, I shoot at the good old Albany Pistol Club, where I first shot as a tiny little tacker back when I don't even remember. So those are home for me.
So there you go. If you're near any of those places, comp on, go. No, I don't. Go pick his brains. How to shoot some IPSC.
Shoot me a message on Instagram. I have people, and it's one of the things I really love about Instagram is I'll have people shoot me a message and go, "Hey, really like what you're doing. How do I get into it?" And if I'm in the area, if I'm in Perth at the time, I'll bring people down and shoot them as a guest at my club, or if they're up in Darwin, I'll bring them out to my club up there, and we'll see about getting them into the exciting world of the ballistic sports. I'm all about it. Absolutely love it. So shoot me a message on Instagram, and if I'm in the area, we'll go for a shoot and try and get you shooting.
Beautiful. So how can people find you on social media? What's your handle?
Range Derp on Instagram and TikTok. If you're like under the age of 12.
Did you watch
TikTok
Team America when you come up with that name? Sorry.
Exactly. That was the meme. It was like derp, and I'm doing dumb shit all the time. So
no, it's gold.
My inspirations was like bloke on the range, and I'm like, I'm a bloke on the range, but he's already got that damn title. And I'm like, I need something else. So I'm like, range. I'm like screwing around on the range Derp. Well, that's me.
Perfect. It suits. No, it's a good name, man. So well done, and good on you for being out there promoting shooting sport to the wider community. So it's always a good thing to have someone on that promotes that, and we're definitely well aligned with what you do out there in the community, and so certainly portray on your social media, man. So props to you. And I think, boys, unless you've got another burning question,
I just want to say thank you very much.
Yeah,
that was very, very good.
Sorry, I just lost you for a second there. I was getting a call from the wife on the phone, so that must mean I need to do something.
Never answer it.
That's good timing there, man, because we're wrapping things up here. So we have to say a big thank you to you for being on the pod, and it's been interesting getting to know you and learn a bit about what you do. So get on and support Aaron on his social medias. Range Derp is where you can find him. Get on and
Let's
support.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you guys for having me. It's been absolutely bloody fantastic, highly entertaining talking to you guys, and really enjoyed it. So thanks for having me.
No dramas, man. It's been good fun. All right, well, we will leave it there. Cheers, man. And tune in next week. We'll have another episode of Centre Mate Podcast.
We will.
Big thanks, Darren.
Most definitely.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. See ya.
G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses High Caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.